Please be seated. Item 3, approval of the agenda.
Second.
Motion second to approve the agenda is published. Any errors, corrections, comments? Hearing none, if you're ready to vote, all in favor of approving tonight's agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions, please so indicate. All right, hearing none, I believe that passed unanimously. Item 4, public comment on the agenda items. This is a good time for us to welcome the members of the public to our meeting tonight. Just a word of safety. In case of fire, we will not want to use the elevator, so the stairs are around behind the elevator. We're just going past the elevator and turn right. In addition, there's another stairwell at the end of this hallway out here. The restrooms are that way and to the right. And any questions about tonight's agenda, please ask them at this time, and we'll try to address them as quickly as possible. Otherwise, if you have a question or comment during the discussion of a particular agenda item, we'll try to recognize you if you would like to make a brief comment or offer or ask a question. Also, if you would like to address the jury about a topic that's not on tonight's agenda, we have some sign-up sheets like this on the podium, I believe, behind Mr. Penny. And we just want a record of your contact information, and we'll give you time at the end of the meeting to address the jury. All right? That said, and hearing no one wanting to comment on tonight's agenda, we'll go on to the next agenda item. Minutes of prior meeting, September 10th, 2019.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of prior meeting. Any comments, corrections need to be made? Hearing none, if you're ready to vote, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions? All right, I believe it's unanimous. Item 6, Ruston Lincoln Detention and Visitors Bureau budget. A 2019 amended budget.
Okay, Travis Napper, CBD is here to present that to you.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank y'all for having me. Didn't get to get around the table because of the prior meeting, but good to see y'all again tonight. If you want, I'm going to speak about a few things and then we'll jump in and do the amended, and then I'll talk about next year's budget as well. But thank you for the opportunity to be here, tell a little bit about this past year and then some about the upcoming and just kind of where we're at as a CVB. This past year that we're in has been a great year for our community in the travel and tourism area. We've hosted the 2018 American Crappie Trail National Championship here. We of course hosted over 2 weeks the 2019 Dixie Youth Baseball World Series, and then coming up in December at Grambling State University, we're hosting the first of 2 years the NAIA Football National Championship. So that's something, kind of a banner year. It's getting noticed serving on board for our community to be able to say we've hosted 2 national championships and a World Series in a community like this is very important, not only to put us on the map, but also the dollars that come in that help all the businesses and continue to circulate within our community. We recently, just out last week actually, we had some people in town to help us. We did an assessment with some community stakeholders, and I thank those of y'all there in the room, guests and jurors that participated in that. And from that, we should be receiving some more feedback within the next week that'll kind of give us some strategic plans going out over the next couple of years. We're poised as a more mature destination to really capitalize on what's happening out in the sports complex, but also kind of shifting how we do work and putting a lot of focus on the weekdays, which is a shift from where we were focused on weekends, but with the sports complex, the addition of new hotels and slower oil and gas, we have to focus more on the weekdays, which means small meetings, conventions, stuff like that will be shifting towards, and we're adding sales roles to do that. Getting into the 2019 amended, I think the main changes, we slightly shifted our lodging tax collections up with the sports complex. We slightly upped our enterprise fund transfer, and those directly affected our meeting and sports marketing. Because at the time when we did our budget last year, we didn't know we had to.
I apologize. The enterprise fund transfer, I see for the 2020, you got a $43,000 increase. What- Are y'all getting a grant from something? Where is that $43,000 coming from?
The enterprise money is the rebate from the state's portion of the sales tax that we receive 2% of the 3.97 municipalities share the rest. So we have that separately, and we've tried to keep that back to help cover debt mainly, and we're getting to the very end of our debt service. So that means we're able to infuse that in our budget more. So we're doing that primarily through our grants and our sports and meeting marketing. You'll see that number adds up to those three things: our debt, our grants, and our meeting, sports, and marketing.
Question. I see the 2019 figures. Are these here the amended figures?
We had made an amendment earlier in this year, and it was primarily to address some of the funds we were going to have to spend to help with the NAIA National Championship, because we didn't know we had won the bid for that until after we had already done the budget. So that was the major change for the 2019, and y'all have it on y'all's agenda. So I was trying to address that, and then I'll also address the 2020. If you want me to go ahead and do that, then y'all can do them bam bam. We can do that too. Or do you rather do the amended first?
We'll have to do them one at a time. I think Joe was pointing out something that's good, right?
Okay.
If you had included the original budget that has amended, then there's no need for question, but we don't remember the original budget, so.
There's none of this original to compare to amended to.
Absolutely.
That's the way that would normally be reported, and that
I'll
would
make
help
sure
all
we
of us.
fix that problem going forward. Apologize about that.
Okay, first let's take, remain for questions, Craig. We may have a question.
Go ahead.
Item 6A, 2019 amended budget, what's the pleasure?
I'd like to offer a motion to approve the 2019 amended budget for the
I second the motion.
chamber.
All right, we have a motion second to approve the Chamber's 2019 budget.
You
as
mentioned
amended.
Business Bureau.
TBD.
Put that.
Business Bureau, I'm sorry. Okay, great. Good point. Any other questions for Travis about the 2019 amended budget? Okay, we're hearing none. If you're ready to vote, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions? All right, hearing none. Thank you, Travis. Now, what about item 6B, 2020?
Okay, for 2020, we're excited about a full year of the sports complex being around. That'll really hopefully help grow our weekend business here. We're obviously, our universities are two of our most vital things of creating such a great culture and built-in business through the prospective students, the sporting events, as well as the family and alumni that come back. So we'll put plenty of focus on that, but we continue to strive towards other bigger events, as you saw with the national championships. State gymnastics meet, and we'll be here the first time we'll host something like that. So this is the beginning of things. With that, we're excited also about the expansion of the Expo Center and what that'll mean. And one of the grants we did, we're waiting to get back for the Cotton Country Horse Show that was a higher level show that they said was very successful, and because of the expansion that y'all were a big part of, and I appreciate that. Going forward, the biggest differences you will see on the budget are increases primarily or in grants. We're trying to up that, and I talked about that a little briefly about we're at a point now where we can spend more of that enterprise transfer, and we're dedicating a lot of that towards more grants, whether that be for events and marketing or whether that be for capital improvements that is good for our destination development. And then we still have a fairly big number for meeting and sports marketing, and then the other bigger one is personnel goes up, but we're moving from 2 full-time people, 2 part-time people to 4 full-time people. And that's with adding a full-time salesperson to really help shift our focus to that weekday business, and she'll do a lot. She's a person that's been with our business for a couple of years, and now she's moving up to a full-time. So we're excited to keep her on as someone that understands our vision and is a local person from here in our community, Jennifer Mayman. And she'll focus on meetings, but as well as sporting events.
A lot of people in Lincoln Parish don't see what the CVB does, but the result of what they do, their hard work and their organization, Travis and his staff, is they bring a lot of tourist dollars into Lincoln Parish. And that employs a lot of our people here in the parish. Those dollars, when a tourism dollar comes into town, it goes around 7 times before it leaves the town. So 7 different people get to touch a little bit of that. It helps with a lot of jobs, exactly like the Expo Center does.
And the latest statistics from the state showed that we've surpassed 1,000 jobs in the travel and tourism industry in Lincoln
We
Parish.
certainly know how much help that we've gotten from them with the Expo Center, some grants and.
And I have some marketing material
And it
here.
goes all the way across the
So,
spectrum. Everybody gets a little bit of that money.
Certainly.
And you will see the Lincoln Parish Park grant does continue to fund through the entire year at that 1% that we've done through the year.
Mr. Pullins, you have,
Travis,
I'm sorry, Mr.
sorry.
Pullins
Oh,
had
sorry.
a question. Mr. Pullins, you have a question?
I think I found it,
Okay.
but I was noticing you had, $34,000 increase in grants. Where are those $34,000 going? $46,000 increase in personnel expense, you explained that one. But that's an increase of like $80,000, but I didn't see an increase in $80,000 of funding to cover those.
Trimmed it elsewhere.
I'm trying to figure.
Well, you'll see media advertising is down some, and meeting and sports marketing are 2 biggest areas that make the biggest chunk. Debt service is down 3,000 as well, another 1,200 for website development maintenance, and then there's a couple that are in the hundreds. Lodging down, staff training down slightly.
But you feel good that you've got the revenue to cover all that?
Absolutely.
Alright, back to the grants. The additional $34,000 in grants, those you can bring events to the parish, correct?
Hopefully that, or foster ones that are already, in that infancy stage, because that money is not allocated. It's also the majority, not the majority of that, but the majority of the increase will go towards grants that people will apply for through that year. So obviously they have not applied yet.
Alright, so when's the deadline for the application for the grants?
It's open year round as long as funds are available.
Okay. Alright, thank
And
you.
those grants applications can be found on our website.
Ms. White?
Travis, is there any way you can pull out the information on how much is brought into the Lincoln Parish economy the weekend of Gramblin's homecoming? I've been asked that question and I don't, how do?
I can do it as far as lodging very easily.
Just lodging?
Cause that's the numbers I'm privy to, is the lodging, which, whatever comes to the hotels, I can do that.
Would you do that for me?
So I can get with you on that.
So for non-lodging,
Restaurants, gas,
Restaurants.
shopping.
That I get the sales tax report, but it lumps the whole month together, so it doesn't pull out individual weekends. But I get a separate report that breaks down every single day for lodging. That's a separate company.
all right, thank you.
I'd like to make the motion that we accept the Western Lincoln Convention and Visitors Bureau budget for 2020 and the whole budget.
All right, I have a motion and a second to accept the proposed budget of Fishing Bureau for 2020. Any more discussion or questions? If you have none, are you ready to vote? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, I believe it's unanimous. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
President.
y'all.
Appreciate you.
Good luck this next week, and
All
I'll
your
leave some
work.
of these market materials if y'all want that.
All right. see where we are, item 5, 6, 7, United Way presentation. So United Way person here?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is the kickoff for the police jury's United Way campaign. I am going to go ahead on and turn it over to Miss Tiffany White. Ms. White is the Resource Development Manager for United Way.
Thank you, Latanya. Good evening. Thank you for giving us a few minutes this evening of your time to highlight and tell you what we've been doing at United Way over the past year. At United Way of Northeast Louisiana, we fight for the education, financial stability, and health of every person in our community. We do this by strategically investing and supporting to help accomplish 3 goals. Those 3 goals are economic opportunity for all, children, youth, and young adults being successful in youth as well, in school as well as in life, and healthy and safe individuals, families, and communities. And so we just want to thank you again for your support of United Way over the past year. And again, we'll start the video to show you the work we've been doing over the past year. It's a short 2-minute video.
More than 70,000 households in our area struggle to make ends meet.
And for the sake of time, if that doesn't work, it's available on our website, unitedwaynela.org. But you do have our brochure in front of you, which highlights the same thing in the video if that doesn't come up. Should we?
More than 70,000 households in our area struggle to make ends meet. On any single night, 187 people experience homelessness, including 34 women with children. Over 12,000 students in our community have limited resources to support success. And when disaster strikes, hundreds are instantly left picking up the pieces. Change doesn't happen alone. Together, with 182 corporate partners, over 8,900 donors, and nearly 5,700 volunteers, United Way of Northeast Louisiana is fighting for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in the community. Together, in a year, we have helped over 12,200 people get on the path to financial stability. We deliver groundbreaking programs and support for over 2,400 people facing homelessness, with more than 181 moving into their own home. We provide a foundation for healthy lives and education for more than 4,600 at-risk youth. And through 211 and our partnerships with local governments, area nonprofits, faith-based organizations, businesses, and volunteers, we rally for those in need when the unthinkable happens. These are the faces of change. You could be one too. Join the fight. United we fight. United we win.
And as you heard in the video, right here in our community, over 70,000 individuals struggle to make ends meet. And so again, that's why we're fighting in Northeast Louisiana. We partner with over 41 partner agencies, collaboratives, and initiatives here in our community that partially fund services at organizations such as the Boys Club, Med Camps, our Councils on Aging, just to name a few, but you have it in your brochure. The great thing about donating to United Way is everything raised here in Northeast Louisiana stays right here in Northeast Louisiana. I work in our Ruston office, and we take it a step further. Everything raised in Lincoln, Union, and Jackson Parish stays right here in Lincoln, Union, and we're thankful for that, and we're able to see, our money work for us right here in our community. The last thing I want to tell you about is our United Way 211. Hopefully all of you are familiar with 211. It connects people right here in our community to needs, to services to meet their needs. And that proved to be absolutely true on the day of and following April 25th during the tornado. And so now the Rustin Strong long-term tornado recovery plan is being facilitated by United Way of Northeast Louisiana. So if you know anyone in your areas who are still struggling with picking up the pieces after the tornado, please have them call 211. The first step to receiving that help is to call 211. They'll take a needs-based assessment and get on your way and hopefully get the help and support that they need for that. And so there are 3 ways that you can partner with United Way. You can donate, and LaTanya will talk to you about that in just a minute. You can volunteer with programs such as the Dollars and Cents Reality Fair and Relearn Succeed program. And you can advocate. Just tell somebody what it is that we're doing at United Way. Tell them about United Way 211 and have that number available in case of a house fire or any emergencies that people might need. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your continued support of United Way over the past year, and we really appreciate it. I'm going to turn it over to LaTanya now.
In your brochure, you have a pledge form. A pledge form is due each year. You have to, if you're already giving this year, you have to do a new form. You can give a one-time donation if you would like. You can do payroll deduction if you like. You can, I think you also have the option if you want to do to a specific organization. That option is available. But however you would like to give, just let me know and we'll get it done.
Can you look ours up and just make it the same as existing?
Yes,
I don't
you can do
remember.
that if you would like to keep it the same as you're giving now. You still need to fill out a new form.
Okay.
You can just print your name, sign it, and just put same as last year. Yes, sir.
What about volunteers?
If you would like to volunteer, you can let me know and I'll make sure I get the information to them.
Or you can call 211 to sign up to volunteer.
I've already signed it.
With 211.
Any other questions you all down here?
If you don't fill out the form tonight, you have until the end of the campaign, which will be in November, and you can turn your form in. So if you have any other questions, just let me know.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate you so much. All right, let's see, where do we leave off? Resolutions, A, supporting regional capacity building in the Louisiana Watershed Initiative, provisional watershed, what do you have to comment?
Yeah, there are actually 2 resolutions that we'll be doing. They're basically identical. I'm gonna let Kevin kind of give you a little overview of why we're having to do this resolution.
All right, the resolutions are in reference to the Louisiana Watershed Initiative. So this initiative was created in response to the 2016 floods that devastated North and South Louisiana. The state will receive approximately $1.2 billion for flood risk reduction and mitigation efforts in Louisiana. In anticipation of making equitable distributions of these mitigation efforts, the state has been split into 8 watershed regions. And we're actually in 2 of those regions. We're in Region 2 and Region 3. These resolutions are to approve the Kisatchie Delta Regional Planning and Development District, along with the Rapides Area Planning Commission, to act on behalf of Watershed Area 2 and the Lincoln Parish Police Jury, along with the City of Monroe, to do the same for Watershed Area 3. So that's what these are about. Does anybody have any questions?
I did some research on the internet and I tried to forward the address of this website for this organization to everyone, and I don't know.
I didn't get it.
Okay, I must not have done it right. Anyway, I think it's worthwhile, and of course, we know that we don't usually have a lot of flooding in most of the parish, but we do have some, and we've seen it. We've seen the wash roads
refreshing is the approach that the state is taking to this mitigation money. They're trying to make sure that it's equitably distributed to all of the state through the different watershed districts, so it's not like you'll have one that's gonna get more than their fair share. They just wanna make sure that it is, any projects that we would come up in either one of our watershed regions, benefit everybody within that watershed district. And so, initially, they're gonna take some of that $1.2 billion, and the state is gonna do a watershed modeling for the whole state, which they will make available to each of the individual watershed districts. So as we move forward, it may be 2 or 3 years before we get to that point, but as you agree on a project or projects, from a district perspective, you'll be able to place those in that model and see how they affect people, downstream or upstream, which is something it's never really been looked at before. And the projects that are gonna gain the most, push and the most money are those that affect, the most people. And so with these models that they're gonna develop, you'll be able to get some really precise information on the impact of those. So I think the state is really doing a good job.
Of course, we know the political boundaries, like the boundaries of Lincoln Parish, just lines on the paper, the waterways and terrain don't care about those. As the flooding crosses parish lines, it's great that they create districts based on the watershed, not necessarily the parish.
As Kevin said, basically everything north of I-20 goes north to Darbo, and basically everything south goes to Jackson Parish and Oklahoma.
And each region will have a committee, and we will be able to submit names from our parish that could be on those committees. And they're typically going to at least choose one person from our parish to be at least one person on that committee. So it could be a person from Grambling or Tech, or it could be an engineer from somewhere else. So it depends on which they're going to vote on those committees, but we will have representation.
Need a motion to pass each of these separately.
I make a motion that, item 8, supporting the regional capacity building Louisiana watershed initiative provisional watershed area 2.
I second.
All right, have a motion and a second to support, resolution A, item 8. Any questions or comments about that motion? Hearing none, you're ready to vote. All in favor of the resolution, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions? Okay, I believe that's everyone, Courtney. Okay, item B. Watershed Area 3, is this because the parish ended up in 2 watershed districts?
That's correct.
Correct. Okay, it's the same thing, it's just the rest of the area.
Mr. President, I move that, item B, that we support the resolution, regional capacity building Louisiana watershed initiative, provisional watershed area 3.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to, support the resolution in item 8B. Any questions about that resolution? Comments? Hearing none, you're ready to vote. All in support of the resolution, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions? All right, hearing none, I believe that's those 2 items. All right, item 8C, Section 8 Housing Program, annual and 5-year plan approval.
Normally, we do the annual plan, but the 5-year plan is also due. If you'll recall, a couple of meetings ago, we set a public hearing at the Section 8 Housing Office for public comments on the proposed plans. The third-party contractor that we use to run our Section 8 program has submitted those plans, and we need jury approval to accept.
I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Question.
Yeah.
The people that manage that for, they still out street for?
No, they're not. For a long time, we had that organization out of Shreveport that did a lot of the northern part of Louisiana. They actually kind of broke up here several years ago, and so now they're individual people that are little corporations that are not quite as big as that one corporation, but they're spin-offs. And so the one that we have, Holly Smith, I think, her name is, that handles the one.
Where's she located?
She's an office.
Is it on,
I think the office is across from Sterling Pharmacy.
It's on Reynolds Drive.
On Reynolds.
Right, yeah.
So is
Behind Wendy's.
is she headquartered there for our area or just for Lincoln, I mean,
That's her Lincoln Parish headquarters. I think she also operates the Section 8 program in Lincoln Parish.
Does you have office hours daily or periodically?
I do not.
I believe the office is staffed daily,
So it's up.
but that's I believe, not I know for a fact.
Okay.
If you need the number, I can get it for you.
No problem. All right, got any other discussion about the motion? Everyone understand, you ready to vote? All in favor?
Do we got a motion?
And so,
Yes.
Have a second. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions? All right, that's everyone, thank you. Item 8D, Officer of the Bridge Program, Annual Certification.
as Randy indicated, this is an annual certification that we do. It's required in order to get federal funds to replace some of our bridges that are in the off-system program. It's basically saying that we have complied with all the requirements of that program and will maintain compliance into next fiscal year.
All right, jurors,
I voted. Second.
we have motion second to, approve the annual certification of the All-System Bridge Program. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, if you're ready to vote, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please indicate. Any abstentions? Hearing none, I believe that's everyone on item 8E, authorizing Martine Tissel, interim director for FHC, to enter into and sign sub-grants with Louisiana Workforce Commission.
Okay, this is, anytime you deal with the state and have agreements with them, you have to have a resolution to authorize certain parties to enter into those contracts and agreements. One of the primary funding sources for the help agency is the Louisiana Workforce Commission. And we would ask that you authorize the interim director to sign those contracts.
So moved. Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second, authorizing interim director to enter into and sign these sub-grants, going to item 8E. Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, if you're ready to vote, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions? Hearing none, I believe it's everyone, includes item 8. Item 9, introduction of ordinances. Ordinance 9A, providing the sale of dedicated property number 12203 00009. Okay, I see.
Yeah, we've got 3 properties on the agenda for this month. We may have up to 6 more for next month, it's just the activity's picking up.
Where's the located?
Dates, yeah, location and dates after the auction.
November 8th.
Located.
The first location is on Drake Road up near Dubuque.
On what now?
Drake Road.
Drake Road.
Drake.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, if you're ready to vote.
We need a motion, so.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion and a second. All right, now any discussion, questions? Hearing none, if you're ready to vote, all indicate your favor.
Aye.
Opposed? Please so indicate.
Mr. President, I'd like to offer a motion for the schedule of auction for adjudicated property sale number 31182000015.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Where is that from?
That's off of Hickory Street, into Hickory Street down near Water Tank Road.
In Vicker Street.
Into Hickory Street, right?
Near Water Tank.
That's right down there.
You took, it said the cul-de-sac, the end down there?
Yes, sir.
What side of the property is it? I'm looking at the description, but that don't tell me.
4 acres more than this.
It's roughly, I don't have that acreage.
Is it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
But it's dead end down there, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it like it land, well, it's landlocked? Oh. Okay.
All I can say is
support the family with that, and I would like to get in contact with the family on that, because they said that they was gonna try to go ahead and catch up or to go to
Redeem
the
it.
courthouse, yes. So, can I have an extension with that, maybe possibly 30, 45 days extension?
If you vote, or the motion to pass the ordinance doesn't pass tonight, it won't be introduced.
So if we wait, I still don't know for certain that they still have an opportunity to redeem.
Yes.
I don't think they would. The property owner has the ultimate right to redeem the property all the way up until it's sold and they go to close the deal in the clerk's office. So they can come in anytime in that process and pay those taxes, and redeem that property.
So that's with the
We
November.
can still
8th.
do it.
Now, the November eighth is scheduled the auction, you still have to schedule a closure after that.
Okay, so what's the deadline? for-
Generally, if it goes to auction November eighth, then we would have to do another ordinance next month, accepting whatever bids we got on that property. And then, as soon as they can get their work done and get to the clerk's office and file it, so you could be looking at, 40 days, 45 days.
Yeah, they still have 30 days from now, they'd still be safe.
They still have 30 days in it without the ordinance, they can still redeem.
Okay, thank you.
Think that'd be sufficient?
Yes.
The process, as I understand it, it makes it very difficult. It gives people multiple opportunities to redeem their property, and I think we will respect that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
That's good to know. So with that said, what do you think about it?
I don't think it'll hurt to introduce it. If something goes on between now and next month, you just want to adopt it.
Okay. What's the pleasure of yours?
What do you call for a vote, we got a motion and a second?
No more discussion?
Yeah.
Ready to vote? Okay. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Good
Mr.
point.
President, I'd like to offer a motion providing for the sale of adjudicated property number 301-821-65056.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to second. With description, where is this property?
It's on the corner of Elam and Diamond Lane, off near Beacon Lake Road. I guess it might be the Eastern Hills subdivision area.
It is.
That's not the directions. Any questions about the property or the motion? 214 Elam Lane. Looks like it might be a lot.
Just gonna let it cut through right there. You open that first, just right here, over. There's a. This one. Where's actually, that's that.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, sure.
I can get it after the.
Go ahead and see it.
Thank you.
It's this property right here. If you want the overhead, it's next page. It's right in this lot right here. It's right next to that trail. It's that property.
Thank you.
You know, anyone else like to see the plat? Okay. Any other questions or comments before we vote? We don't have a motion yet?
Okay,
Walk
you're right.
ahead.
You got one. You got it.
You're right.
Okay, we got it. All right. If you're ready to vote, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none. Thank you. I think that takes care of the adjudicated property. Item 10, budget actual report, Ms. Lowry.
As of 12:30 today, the September severance tax information is not posted to the state's website, so I cannot give an update on how that has progressed with our deficit, but I will have that for you hopefully next month. So right now, we're still looking at being in a negative position as far as I know, and that will go into next year. If you look at your budget to actual report on page 2, which I put it at two-sided again, trying to save trees and money. Under professional services, where it's $107,000 year-to-date versus $55,000 budgeted. A lot of that has to do with the sewer rehab project and some engineering fees associated with that are under the LCDBG grant. And when we pay those fees ourselves, we get every points on the LCDBG program right for it. And those were not budgeted, so that's accounting for the majority of that overage there. When you go to page, when you go to the, solid waste disposal fund on page 10. Sales tax continues to be down when you compare current year with prior year. It's down about $108,000 over the same period last year. We did not see much of an uptick in August, a slight uptick with the ball games and the Dixie World Series. So we're still within the realm of hitting our budgeted number of $4.5 million, but we're running behind where we were last year. The wages and the contract labor, we've discussed in the past, kind of offset your over budget on contract labor, but ongoing wages, and that's a shift between employees and temporary type employees. If you go to the solid waste collection fund, there is a coding error issue. We did not spend $22,000 on food. Just to make that clear, that $22,000 belongs in the maintenance of equipment account, and I will have that fixed for the next report. The revenue line on here transferring from disposal was about $90,000 less than it was last year, and that's a factor of the sales tax. If you go to the courthouse capital page, which is page 13, the $819,000 that has been spent in improvements, of that, about $690,000 is related to the expansion of the expo. Approximately $75,000 to $78,000 is associated with the generator project, and then we have about $65,000 that's associated with the expo. The elevator, the elevator project that we did in this building here.
Did the elevator project cross the budget because it was in 2 years?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I
Yes.
thought.
Across from business in 2 years.
Part of it had to be paid in each year.
Yes.
Okay.
And we've received reimbursements on the generator of about $43,000 from the state. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them, but those are the highlights.
I have a question. Yes, for the food, on the 22,000, when I called it for last month too, so.
Yeah, it's an error that happened in July.
So
It was a
it went
key,
all the way
it was a
to-
keying error on the journal entry.
You put in the wrong number.
The journal entry account number should have been the 43,315 instead of 43,515.
Okay, any other questions about budget actual report? Hearing none?
Oh, we don't? Okay.
I think just the board, we don't have any action. Okay, great. Item 11, announcement of upcoming board and commission vacancies for the.
Sure. This is part of our commission and board appointment process. To first make a verbal announcement of upcoming vacancies. We've got the Lincoln Parish Fire Protection District, number 1. 2 vacancies will be coming up at the end of the year. One One is for Ward 2, currently represented by Julia Sumler. The other one is Ward 3, currently Mike Fulton is that representative. You also have the Mount Olive Waterworks District. There are 3 seats on that one that will be up at the end of the year. Waterworks District 1 out of 1. So, at our next month's meeting, we will have a personnel committee meeting to consider any possible candidates or incumbents that want those positions.
So to make sure I'm correct on this, for instance, Mount Olive Waterworks, the 3 vacancies, 2 vacancies. They send in the recommendations to you.
Yes.
Same thing with fire protection.
Yes.
So you notify them or? I forgot. You would notify them. Okay.
All right, any other questions about that? Now, let's move on to item 12, committee reports, Public Works Committee.
The Public Works Committee met today at 5:30. On the agenda was authorized substantial completion for North Louisiana Excavation Center project, which was approved. Authorized change order number 1 for Big Creek Road Bridge replacement project for guardrail addition. That was approved. Authorized contract renewal with Inspections of Louisiana LLC for building permit and inspection service. It was approved. Authorized advertisement for bids on gasoline, diesel fuel, gravel material, cover material, asphalt, concrete, paving fixtures for 2020. And consider and take action if necessary, corporate endeavor agreement with Fort Falls for fence line clearing. I want to submit that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion and a second to approve the report of the Public Works Committee. Any other questions about their report? Hearing none, if you're ready to vote, all in favor of approving the report of the Public Works Committee, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions? Thank you, Courtney. Item 12B, Insurance Committee.
The Insurance Committee met today at 6:00 p.m. We were privileged to report from Mr. Randy Graham from the Lincoln Agency, also from the group Health Insurance Renewal. All of the funds were favorable, and I would like to present this in the form of a proposal.
All right, I have a motion and a second to accept the report of the Insurance Committee. Any comments or questions? Any discussion about the motion? Hearing none, if you're ready to vote, all in favor of accepting the report of the Insurance Committee, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please so indicate. Any abstentions? Believe all the votes are out. Thank you. Finance Committee, Mr. Russell.
Finance Committee met this evening at 6:30. First item of business was consider salary and wage increase that was approved at 2.5% across the board for all employees. Second item had to do with budget requests for 2020. The following items were approved for the following amounts. Lincoln Total Community Action, $4,000. Bayou Lake Garbone Commission, $1,800. Sparta Groundwater Commission, $2,500. Department of Veterans Affairs was approved for $5,000. Council on Aging was approved for $5,000. IT Department was approved for $20,000. Lincoln Parish GIS was approved for $25,000. Third Judicial District Court was approved for $137,700. Lincoln Parish Clerk of Court was approved for $22,800. I missed one. Lincoln Parish Cooperative Extension was approved for $20,000. Lincoln Parish Registrar of Voters was approved for $25,321. Lincoln Parish Coroner was approved for $60,483. Lincoln Parish District Attorney was approved for $244,660. Trailblazer was approved for $2,250. Four Paws was approved for $24,000. Lincoln Parish, Keep Lincoln Parish Beautiful was approved for $7,500. North Delta Human Services Authority was approved for $1,530. Lincoln Parish Health Unit was approved for $18,500. There was no more business. I submit that in the form of a motion.
Excuse me.
All right, we have a motion second to approve the.
Is there a question?
We have
Yes,
a
sir.
motion and second to approve the committee report. Is there any discussion?
We have a question.
All right.
Just real quick, and I know y'all talked about it in committee, but for the full audience, can you just list the ones that were different than the request?
All right, the ones that were different from the request. Last year, we did a single year request because of the fire at Lincoln Total Community Action. We made that point very clear. We went back to the original amount that we had normally funded that group for $4,000. The only other, let's see, Third Judicial District Court requested $2,700 more than the previous year. That was approved by law. We are required to do that. Lincoln Parish Registrar of Voters, another thing we're required to do is we approved $980 as per their request increase. The request from Four Paws was $36,000. We only approved $24,000 because of our budget situation, but previously we had approved a $14,000 or $15,000 in-kind contribution to Four Paws.
And was Trailblazer not different a little bit as well?
Trailblazer request was $2,500 and the motion was $22,500 as we did last year.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any questions from anybody? Sure.
Yes, you know, I would think that it would be really fair that everybody would take a hit in terms of cuts that you funded, with the exception of those people or those entities that must be funded by the Lincoln Parish Police Jury. And I would like to see the Finance Committee go back and take a long, hard look at Lincoln Total Community Action. You know, it's designed that they are to raise so much local money. And I understand your budget is tight and all of that. But if you've not been by Lincoln Total to see exactly what they do, I would ask that you go back.
I was there 2 weeks ago.
Exactly what they do. And it might help to at least give them a little bit more than the $4,000 they got year before last. And I just think that if we're gonna take care of the budget, let's cut everybody, because I don't think you can cut your way out of a deficit. You've got to cut and raise, you know. Thank you.
Bill, I appreciate your comment. I'd be willing, if the others on the board help make up that difference, I'd give $200 a month out of my paycheck for the police jury.
Thank you.
All right, submit that in the form of a motion.
All right, we have a motion second
Motion.
to approve the Finance Committee report. Is there any other discussion?
Yes, I just want to go on record that I made a mistake on the loan. And I want to just go ahead and, you know,
Lucy, you
make
weren't
a-
here.
Is it
paid or not paid?
And we said
But it was at the end of the discussion.
we took each item individually, so the item had already been voted on. Will be explained that if you change your vote,
too, is, you know, you're giving us the assumptions to come up with the budget, which we're gonna present in November. And you will also have an opportunity at that time to address any concerns and vote on any changes that you would like to.
This is not the final vote for next year's budget. All right, that's it. Does everyone understand? Yes, yes, Mr. Smith.
You know, if the vote was tied, wouldn't it, revert back to what the original was rather than zero?
I think the motion was to make the grant in a certain amount, and if the motion failed, it would just be no grant, unless there were another motion. So that's the reason for that. It wasn't, the motion wasn't to make the increase, the motion was the entire grant. All right, to answer your question. Okay, any other discussion? We have a motion second on the floor. Are we ready to vote? To accept the committee report of the finance committee. All right, all in favor of accepting the committee report of the finance committee, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please so indicate.
Nay.
2. Any abstentions? All right, always when we vote, make sure your vote gets recorded correctly, so sometimes we get heard. Okay, is that right?
Got you now.
Nay.
Okay, all right, good. That's all committee reports. Item 13, other business. Do we have any travel?
No travel or correspondence.
Any reports from the department heads, managers? Yes, anything? Mr. Goss?
We will, be finishing up our reseal program tomorrow, and we've got 2 more, projects on the capital outlay list for this year. It's just some cross-train placement that will be, starting pretty soon. And, we'll be back into, any kind of ditch repair and driveway repair. So if we got any issues, just tell everybody to call in.
Any questions, Mr. Goss? Yes.
I've had many calls about the grass being extremely tall over in the Mount Olive area. Are you all going to be on that site soon?
They will be there within the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yep.
Any other questions for Highway Department? James, you got anything?
Just real quick, we're parked this weekend, will host the Ruston High Invitational Cross Country Meet. And the varsity girls are at 8, varsity boys at 8:45, and then Tuesday, the 29th, we'll host the District 258 Cross Country Meet. And I encourage you to come out, and Ruston High's got a really good team this year.
Good. Great, thank you. Any questions for James? Yes, Bob.
I'd like to ask Jim, not you. I'd like you to explain why this grass is growing y'all behind. Thanks for that.
Yeah, that was
Been
our
a
draft.
very wet year. And there's no way they can keep up with the grass that's been growing out here. The state highways, the federal highways, everything we see lots of tall grass. We got, from September a year ago to this time, we've probably seen 1.5 times our average annual rainfall. They're having a tough time keeping up. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. We just have had an unusual year. We know that we got a late start. We got rained out a bunch.
We had to track it down.
And we get the blame when they don't mow the state roads as well. We know that, because I get multiple calls.
Yeah.
So, we do appreciate you trying to catch up though. Gary? Solid Waste Department?
No, not taking any questions.
Any questions, Solid Waste Department? We appreciate the job you do, yes, Gil.
Are we still, as we travel along and see a big pile of trash, or are we still picking up? Because the public is not aware that in order to pick up your trash on the side of the road in the parish, you need to call 251-5159 and give them an address and a phone number, and they'll come pick it up. But
They need to be aware. We've had several people call me. They need to be close enough to the road they can reach it. If you can't reach it with a truck, they have to leave it, and then people get upset. And that's the gist of it. And if if they leave a number, if there's a problem, we'll call them back or try to.
You're right.
But it needs to be close enough we can reach it. All right, anything else for solid waste?
I'm happy to announce that most of you may know that construction is gonna start from 818 all the way to Vienna and repairing that road to complete it, yes.
Great. Long past you, who else? Oh, Angela, there you are. You're still on board in that.
Well, we're almost through with construction at the expo. We're kind of cleaning up and, we have a checklist, we have a few things that we've got to go over, but for the most part, we're complete. I would like to invite each of y'all out there to see this. Everyone that's come out there is so thankful. They've asked me to personally thank the police jury for what y'all have given to the public out there, and they appreciate it so much. So on behalf of myself and the people the promoters, we thank you very much.
You know, it's a long time coming, but that's a big boost, I think, to the facility. And I had a person tell me on the street last week, said, have you ever driven out there and seen the millions and millions of dollars worth of trucks and trailers and horses? And they were just amazed by it. I said, yeah, it is amazing when you think about it. That's a very expensive hobby. Angela gets some of the best out there. She knows what she's doing. So we really appreciate your efforts. Who else is with us tonight? Vivian, okay. Okay, here you are.
I tried to hide from you. We've got so many things going on that it would take me all evening to finish telling you about them. So I'm only going to tell you about two things and invite you to come to the library on the 22nd. We have I'll date myself here and some of you too, because you'll recognize this person. He was the lead singer of the New Christy Minstrels back in the day, and he will be here doing a tribute to John Denver, so if you want to come and hear him. And then we have an art exhibit going up, and the grand opening reception will be on Sunday, the 27th at 2 o'clock. Dave Ivy, he does mostly landscape and farm scene paintings, and they are beautiful, so come by and see those and join him for his reception. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yes. Just for record recording, are you going to know and get on record that, when you're gonna be retired?
Yeah, I thought that I expressed this several times. My last day in the office is gonna be November 27th.
Okay. So we need to, advertise. We
Not
need to-
at this point, I don't think so. If you appoint a new administrator, you can only appoint him through the end of the year. You can only appoint an administrator through December 31st.
The new
No,
jury.
I'm not asking about appointing an administrator, I'm just asking about advertising.
For what?
Advertising.
You mean beginning the search process?
Again, because we went through this 6 months ago to hire an assistant.
That'll be up, well, let me answer it this way. It'll be up to the personnel committee.
Right.
I think the is gonna wait until after the new people come in. May not be us, don't leave that up to.
No, that's not what I'm asking, I'm just, you saying wait to start advertising in January. So, why, we supposed to vote for an administrator?
I know.
In January or February.
I know.
So if you don't advertise, you won't have your candidate.
We're gonna have assistant until then. The
I
assistant
understand that.
will be until then, and when the new people come in as member of the jury, we will start then. Because it wouldn't be fair for us to advertise now.
We could advertise, we could advertise.
No, we're gonna have an assistant administrator. He's gonna be working.
When is that going?
What's that?
November the 27th.
I think what she's trying to say is Kevin will be here in an interim capacity.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying we could start advertising.
But we can't, the law says
Couldn't hire.
we
We could
cannot
advertise.
hire a new administrator until after the new people come in.
I think it would be prudent.
Tell her what she said, tell her.
Y'all, let's one at a time, please.
Ms. Mayfield, as I understand it, is just wanting to start the process of looking for somebody. She's not wanting to hire somebody, she just wants to start the process.
That'd be up to the jury and the personnel committee. I'm not saying yes or no, I'm just saying that,
So when do we
personnel
make
committee-
the decision if to advertise it?
Personnel committee bring a recommendation to the jury. You all meet, what's the recommendation? We're gonna have to, decide on the job description and general process.
For the administrator.
Are we,
It's incomplete, it doesn't have.
so you're saying, what you're saying is we're not gonna change the job description we have?
I don't know, we got to look at that.
We have to look at it and agree that that's what we want to advertise. So you got October, you got 2 more meetings this year.
My opinion, my thought is, you know, you could potentially, I'm not saying you don't have 9 new people sitting around this table. January, you know, and they could actually come in and say, you know what? You know, we wanna go in, we wanna change the job description, we wanna do this way, we wanna do that way. The intent, and I think I've expressed this to a lot of you, is, you know, for me to stay, to get all the heavy lifting done, all the budget, capital improvement program, and all these things. We went through a process where we were gonna hire an assistant to possibly, you know, have a chance at the, administrator's position, you know, 6 months ago. So we've kinda already been through that. So we've got somebody in place, we have a capable treasurer, we can carry on until the new jury is seated. And I think it you know, would be prudent, since you could only, even if you went through this exercise and advertised, the new jury could come in and say, well, we didn't wanna do that, so we're gonna change it now. To get everybody on board, know who's gonna be, you know, sitting around this table, and when they get sworn in, let them make the decision on how they wanna go about this.
To advertise?
That's just my opinion.
To advertise. Because
If you advertise, you're gonna have to have a job description to go with it. You're gonna have to have a salary to go with it.
It's not that the new jury's not gonna wanna advertise, they may change the job description.
Right.
And then you gotta advertise all over.
All over.
Back to questions for the librarian.
Yes,
What's the date on the John Denver tribute thing?
October the 22nd, Tuesday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
6 p.m.